Here we are, punters. Another episode of Tipster. Mick Gannon, how are you, mate?
Damo, how are you, mate? Doing very well. Couldn't be more pumped. What a time of year. Backing winners left, right, and centre. Some dead set geniuses on our site, filling us up as well. So how good's that? How are you, mate? Good?
Yeah, going well. Very excited, obviously. I think punters are spoilt now with some good programs in both of the Eastern Seaboard cities, Melbourne, obviously the Victorian Derby day, which, look, is one of those days on the calendar, isn't it? So many group races. You've got to get excited. Golden Eagle, it's just proving itself to be just another good meet. And this episode is going to be dedicated to those 2 days. We've got some cracking people to talk to. But before I get on to what's in the episode, Mick, tell us a bit more about what's going on. And in particular, we're coming up to Melbourne Cup weekend. Why do the punters have to tune in and not only go to the site, get their tips, get their information, Australia's #1 tipping hub, but also to subscribe to the YouTube channel, mate?
Mate, we've got a cracking week ahead. So we've got Melbourne Cup preview coming up. So yourself and I will jump on there. We'll be joined with some great guests, star-studded lineup there. And then myself and Dean Watling once again chime in with All In. For those of you out there that haven't seen All In for Derby Day and Golden Eagle, chime in, jump on YouTube, leave us some comments, get some engagement there for us. And on top of that, guys, if you can retweet our tweet, you go into the sweepstakes, the Melbourne Cup sweepstakes that Dino's putting out there, which is going to give you a subscription to his stuff as well. So jump on Twitter, give us a retweet and send us some love.
Yeah, sounds good. Lots to look forward to there. Quick run over what we're going to do. So we're going to present the Flemington performers, obviously coming up to the Flemington Carnival. I'm sure you want to know who the track experts are. We're going to look at the media experts over 365 days, and we're also going to look at the pros, those who have earned a pro status, top 5 performance at Flemington. So make sure you check that out before you follow someone on Derby Day. What we're also going to do is talk to none other than the GOAT, Deane Lester. So Deane Lester will talk to us about all sorts of things. He's going to give us the view on Derby Day, his early view on Cup Day, but also talk to what goes into his premium package, speed maps. No one does speed maps like Dino. They'll talk to it and you understand why. And also his staking plan, really what the thinking is and how you can get a lot out of that. And Mick, you mentioned retweeting. There's a tweet that we put out for that interview on Twitter, and if you retweet that, you'll go into the running for a premium package for Derby Day, and there couldn't be a better punters companion than that.
Outstanding. Get around that, punters. And in the fair dinkum department, Dino's been doing this for years, but get around it, retweet, get around the big fella, mate. He's flying, and his stuff is amazing. So get around it, retweet, and I think you'll be pretty happy with what you win there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll draw that on Friday. The other person we're speaking to, obviously the big meet, the Golden Eagle meet at Rosehill, and we've got a cracker with none other than Tom Haylock from racing.com. So make sure you stick around for that one. We've got to round out with the close and, of course, Mick's Moral. Ready to go, Mick?
Ready to go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Of course, coming up to Big Derby Day at Flemington, what a great time to find out who has been shooting the lights out for not 1 month, not 2, 3, but 12 months. 12 months with serious profit. You've got to feel good about following, Mick. What do you think?
Absolutely, mate. Let's go. Who we got on top?
Yes. Look, looking at the leaderboard, at the top there, we've got Kobe O'Brien. I mean, this is probably one of the finds of the year, this bloke. I mean, have a look at his stats there. 212% pot, 17K if you're following with $100 bets flying. Sam Kennedy's there. He uses a system that he's sort of improving all the time, and looks pretty there with 74% pot at the track. Turf Cutter, good story about Turf Cutter. He is a lifetime profit maker since 2011 on the site, and that's across all tracks. So, and we're talking about 25,000 tips there, Mick. So certainly has tested himself over time.
That's how many bets I had last week.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Well, when there's money in the bank, the account, you'll keep betting, won't you? But he's also shown some cracking stats there at Flemington as well. So certainly one to follow. Just Wins contributes with, look, we've had him on here a couple of times now, so no stranger to the old leaderboard. Look, he's a bit like you, Mick. He likes his early markets. As soon as they're up, mate, he's swooping in on them. He's one of those sort of early market movers, I think, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. And sitting there in fifth spot, so top 5 pros, this is, of course, those who have earned a pro status, and Milko27, and he's another guy who's using a rating system, certainly working for him, and a nice 2K profit there over the 12-month period. So look, hey, next to do is to look at the media, and sitting at the top there, Mick, we've got Hugh Fitzpatrick from SEN Track. He's 54% pot there. Now, Mitch Hamilton, I've got an interesting one for us here, Mick. You ready for this one? The big Cox Plate protest. So lots of stories have come out of that one. You ready for this one? Mitch Hamilton, it was his punters club bet on the weekend, and he was pretty vocal on social media as that. How long did it go for, mate? Was it half an hour? I think that protest.
It's one of my money,
mate. Jason,
too long.
Jason Richardson was peeping through windows at Moonee Valley, for God's sake, trying to find out what was going on. But well, Mitch Hamilton is the longest half an hour in his life because he forgot to put Animo in the quaddie, which ultimately got up. So he was sweating, I think, more profusely than anyone. Wouldn't have been too popular with the mates. Luckily, got the result. In third spot, Mick, this is our early market movers product. Now, we know that James Beeson puts this together, and he's worked on a formula that he's been moulding up for years now with us. It is flying. And I think you'll find its long-term stats at all tracks is good too.
And that comes out usually Thursday afternoon. So if anyone wants to chime in and grab that, head to the site, greattipoff.com. Early market movers article, it's there. Not only does it give you the horses to follow, it also gives you good reasoning to follow them as well.
Absolutely.
Worth checking out. In the fair dinkum department, if you're not looking at it, you're a mug.
Yeah, no, it's worth checking. Look, Michael Gannon. There's a guy called Michael Gannon who's in fourth spot. I mean, there we go, Mick. Sydney expert, but doing okay at the old Flemington. I mean, does that sound fair to you? Do you like punting at Flemington?
I love the joint. Honestly, like if they race at Flemington every second week, I don't think I'd ever bet in Sydney again.
Yeah. Look, I hear it's interesting. Look, I certainly love it because the old saying, every horse gets their chance. Look, the only time I was a bit shady was when that inside rail was doing funny things. There was a period there, but they seemed to have sorted that out.
12 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just this period. I don't know, it was a couple of years before COVID, but anyhow, sure.
Back to its best now. We'll see an absolute cracking track on Saturday. I cannot wait, and I have tips galore. I've had a bet in nearly every race already. I'm so
well. They're all black type pretty much. So why wouldn't you? Hey, and rounding out the top 5, none other than the guy we spoke about at the top, Deane Lester. Look, interestingly, I mean, Deane Lester might be 5th there, but has put a ton more tips in than anyone else. And obviously, to still sit in the top 5 over the 12-month period is an exceptional result. Also, remember that starting price, and for anyone else, you'd sort of say, oh, well, okay, that's probably not getting the best price. But for Deane, you probably times that by a factor, don't you, Mick? Because we know some of his best bets go out into certain media sections. So the prices get crunched. We're taking starting price. I think if you're backing Deane at Flemington over the past 12 months, you're doing a lot better than that as well.
Oh, without a doubt, mate. There's absolutely no doubt. And look, it ebbs and flows of it, right? But he's on radio, he's on TV, he's tipping these horses, not just what we're doing on social media to a couple thousand. Or Salty's got about 12, but Dino's tipping them to 1 million people, right? So his best bets will be getting crunched left, right, and centre.
Absolutely. All right, we promised it to you, punters, and now we're going to give it to you. We are talking to Deane Lester ahead of the biggest week in racing. Mick, just before we go we roll over to the chat that I have with Deane, I want to talk to a couple of things. So Deane Lester has a premium package all Saturdays and big race days. And in that, he includes his own speed maps. And you're going to find out very quickly in this discussion why they are so unique, and his staking plan. And again, you're going to find out why it's such a benefit to every punter, whether you're time poor or not. Just one of those things that's worth having by your side on the day. If you want to get hold of it, go to the Great Tip Off, type in Deane Lester in the search bar. You'll go straight to his page and you can get it there for Derby Day. So, Mick, without any further ado, let's go talk to the great man.
Let's go.
Well, punters, it's the biggest week in the racing calendar in Australia, and what a time to have the biggest name, well, arguably the biggest name. We think it's the biggest name in racing. Mr. Deane Lester, how are you, Dean?
I'm well, Damien. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome on, Dean. How exciting is it, Dino, coming into this big magic week we're about to see?
Yeah, well, we've had the entree in the first course through Caulfield, and what a great time that was with Animo winning the Guineas and Incentivise winning the Cup, and then controversy of the Cox Plate on Saturday with State of Rest and Animo. But this week's what it's all about, and Flemington's what it's all about, starting with Derby Day and then into the Cup, Oaks and the McKinnon Stakes, which, who knows, we might even see a return bout of State of Rest and Animo.
Yeah, look, it's very exciting, isn't it? You know the sport's doing well, don't you, Dino, when you see everyone's opinions flooding through social media and everywhere. Look, hey, everyone's got their opinion. I think that's what makes it the great game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can show the same person a replay of a race or a trial, and you'll get 5 different interpretations of it. And, that's the great thing about pre-race. No one's ever wrong before a race, so you can have all the opinions you like, and then after a race you can dissect it and you can work out where you went wrong or why you were right. So it's a great sport.
Good one. Hey, Dino, I wanted to start by talking about speed maps, and some punters, a lot of punters would know, some may not, but Deane Lester's race day package is really a great accompaniment for anyone on any Melbourne racing day on Saturday, especially in all the big race days. And one of the reasons for that is it contains Deane Lester's speed maps. But I know from previous discussions, Dino, it's more about your gate and your gate speed and so forth. So I was just wondering if you could talk us through what are some of the factors that you consider when you put together your speed maps and try and predict what the race shape might be.
Yeah, exactly. Don't always look at a horse's position in running. It might have raced on the pace because it's drawn good gates 5 times in a row. Then it draws wide. Will they take that and go forward, or will they go back because of the wide draw? Certain riders have different intent. I always put Craig Williams a bit closer in the speed map because he likes to just try and get that bit closer. Glenn Boss, much the same. So you've got those sort of factors. But ultimately, it's a guide, and it's trying to just envisage how a race would be run. It started in very primitive form in about 2001, drawing little lines next to the names on a Herald Sun form guide, and from there we've developed it into spreadsheets, and hopefully a really good guide to the punters. It's trying to picture what a race is going to look like, and if you get that picture, then you might actually see who's going to get the best run and maybe who's going to be the winner.
Yeah, look, it's certainly the feedback we get, Dean, from punters, the army of punters who use that as a tool on race day, that it's certainly doing the job. And look, one of the other aspects of the race day package that really differentiates it from a lot of others is your betting plan, or staking plan, as some might call it. Now, Dean, what we note in that is that, you're not always tipping or putting a staking plan together for every race. And then in some races, you're actually taking more than one runner, and you're actually staking against more than one runner. I wanted to start with that first, Dino. What goes into your thinking? What is the deciding factor to put more than one runner in a race and the various staking against that?
Okay, so if it's often, I might take 2 runners and one will be more favoured, so you might have a high percentage on it. You might bet to win a certain amount. You're looking at the odds of a morning. If I take an example of Saturday, one that probably skipped through was that Forgot You was $1.80 and heading towards $1.65 in the morning. And I didn't put it in the staking plan, but it paid $2.10. So they're the sort of ones that, if you're sort of agile on the day, you could probably play. But when you're talking about the more than one runner in a race, often, even if I have three in a race, you might have one that you look at it and you say, gee, I'd hate to lose on this race if this horse won. Yeah. So it's just a break square. So if you're thinking you've got $30 and it's a $3 chance, you might have your $10 on it. You might have another one that's $7 and you might have $12 on it. And your other $8 might be on an $8 chance. So you've got a good result with one win, a nice result with the other, and a break even with the other. So you're backing three horses, in essence, against the field. And two of them for a profit, one to break square. The rest of the field win, well, you lose. And that's how I look at it. The staking plan, I put it into try and make it around what I say 100 units or $100 if it was $100 spend on a day. But you might be a bigger punter than that. So if you spend 300 on a Saturday, everything I say you'd multiply by 3.
Yeah.
So that's how I roughly work it out, and try and work it that the best bet of the day, probably more than half of the time, if it wins, it nearly covers the day.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to try and work out, I think.
Yeah, look, what I'm hearing there, Deane, is there's a real strategy going into the thinking around a race. And obviously we know, and we saw a bit of that on the weekend where the best horse in the race, I'm thinking Floating Artist has won, may not have won the race. So you need to obviously in your case, you're thinking about those possibilities and saying, look, at least I can break even if this comes home. But our upside is this if the other two runners come home based on the staking plan.
Yeah, well, and there's other little permutations to it all as well, because then you have a race like Saturday's race where Generation won. Yeah. That was my best bet, so that was a nice result. But when I put the form sheets out at about 8:30, I didn't have Dosh anywhere in the selections, and she was around $3.30. So that was a great opportunity for early layers to maybe take her on. I mean, she started, I think, south of $6, $6.50. So if you can use that information maybe to your advantage if that's what you play. So I'm trying to create a package or information that suits everyone. That if you're a trifecta player, there's more than 4 numbers there sometimes. If you're just a win-only punter, you've got the staking plan. If you can see that I've totally ignored a favourite, you might want to lay that. So I'm hoping that provides a little bit for someone, because you just don't know what I've found from experience on race courses. People come up to you and say, oh, well done on such and such. You had it in for 4th, it was 50-1, and it got me the trifecta. And I wouldn't have even thought of that, but they do.
That's good. And what ones that we've heard sometimes is people ringing in or sending in a note and talking about you being a legend, and we'll look at the weekend and say, oh, you did all right there on the weekend, but this guy's going nuts, and of course it's your quaddie numbers that other punters are really hanging on as well. So but look, just on that betting plan or staking plan, as some may call it, can we just look at the other part of that, Dino? And obviously you choose to stay out of some races, and although you'll tip in each race, you'll provide tips in each race, and your top 4, 5 and how they sit in order and rank in order, your betting plan or staking plan actually stays out. Can you just explain what goes behind the decision to actually leave a race out of your staking plan?
Yeah, I think the good idea of putting numbers for each race is that someone else might really they buy the plan, they might really like a horse, and they might want it reinforced. It's my top selection. Yeah. But I might see a race where I think there's 2 chances, and one's $2.60 and one's $3.20. You could make a small book on it, but risk and reward, is it worth it? Or just is it? I'd want to back 5 in a race. Yeah. To cover that I've got the winner, and then you look at it and you can't actually fit them all in where you may only have 3 breaking square and 2 winning. So it's again risk and reward. So I think a great race on Saturday in case in point was the Crystal Mile. We had a horse like Elephant, who was probably the best horse on form, but right at the end of his preparation. Yeah. And then you've got horses like Best of Days, who's past his best of days. Be Good to Your Mother hasn't won for 2 and a bit years. And then you had also like Just Folk, who was totally outgraded on his rating, but at least he's an up and comer. And ultimately, he won at $15. But did you want to take that risk on him, or did you want to, personally, that race I thought was a good race to lay Elephant because he was at the end of his preparation. So I stayed out as a staking plan, but there was information there that maybe someone gleaned something out of.
Yeah, no, look, that makes a lot of sense. I think certainly the thing coming through, Dino, is lots of information in that package, as we've seen. Different punters, depending on what their appetite is and how they want to bet, can glean out of it what they will.
And with the premium package, there's a comment on every runner, and it might just, again, be a reinforcement of why someone might like a horse, or I might pose a question, can this horse win from the straw over this distance? And it might get the punter thinking. So no one in racing has the answers. If you're a really good trainer, you're wrong 80% of the time. If you're a jockey, you lose 80% of the time, and you're really good at it. And as analysts, we're the same. So you're only trying to pose questions and work it out that, to the best of your abilities, and try and, get the variables right, because there are so many.
No, that's great, Dino. And look, to your point, we actually refer to it as a form guide, a race day assistant, if you will. It's got so much information there, depending on who you are or how you go about things. It's got something for you. Whether you're more less time poor or more time poor, it's there for you. And of course, the less time poor, the staking plan's certainly the one to keep your eye on. Dino, we are coming up to that race, the Melbourne Cup. Look, it's funny, hey, it's the biggest race in the racing calendar. It's the one that stops the nation. All those cliches. Let's face it. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest fields of the year, and within that, we've got probably the majority of the field going around who have never got that distance before, and we're asking punters to try and pick the winner. Can you just talk to Dino when you're looking and doing form for the Melbourne Cup? What are you looking for? What are the indicators that you're looking for that tell you this horse can get the distance and obviously go on and win what is probably arguably one of the toughest races on the calendar?
Yeah, it's a very good point. And I think the first thing you've got to look at is a horse that's relaxed, that will handle, as you said, there's 24 runners. We don't have, Flemington only have the provision for 2 races a year for 24 runners, the Newmarket, which is the sprinters, and the stayers in the Melbourne Cup. So there's not a lot of practice for both horse or rider in such massive fields. So you want a horse that's going to, if there's a bit of hustle bustle, won't get fired up, because they've got to conserve energy for that finishing run and give themselves that chance at running 3,200 metres. So that's the first point. I think the modern Melbourne Cup has changed significantly. 4 of the last 6 winners have raced right on the pace. None more so than last year, Twilight Payment, but Bow and Declare 2 years ago. It's only really the likes of El Mandan coming from well back, and Cross Counter coming from well back. But Prince of Penzance well and truly in the first half of the field. The modern Melbourne Cup has changed a bit, and it's actually, I think, the European influence. At first, they didn't adapt to our race, and we used to run it at a very fast speed and break them open very early. And even though they're great stayers, their stayers like to warm into their work. And now we're actually playing it a bit their way. So it's a bit of a strange one. And I thought last year was a bit of a flick around for an older Melbourne Cup where Twilight Payment actually ran him into the ground, but we had some great closers that just didn't quite get there. So this year, you're going to have Incentivise is going to be totally the hunted. He's going to be in the first 4. Everyone knows where he's going to be. Everyone knows he's now got 57 kilos. Will he have an easy time of it? With Twilight Payment in the race, with a couple of others in the race, no, he won't. Will he still be too good? He may well be. Does he give the indication he'll run 3,200? Absolutely. Because he's horses. Some horses can be on pace and they want to go a bit faster. He goes like into a bubble and just relaxes and conserves energy. And we've seen horses come up to him and he just doesn't change his stride. He just keeps in his rhythm and he gets the job done. So it's a bit of a fairy tale. And it's a bit hard to believe on March 27, he got beaten 16 lengths in a Toowoomba maiden and he's going to win a Melbourne Cup, but he's only a few days away from achieving it.
So some of the viewers will probably say, "Oh, it's because he's a Queenslander," do you know?
Well, probably. He's had that good winter up there. Gee, the water must be good up there.
Yeah. Well, look, there's something going on, that's for sure. Hey, and on that subject, then we just thought we'd ask. I mean, obviously coming into Derby weekend, they're coming into the Cup. Is there anything? I mean, look, it's tough. It's all in markets, plenty of variables. So it's not a tip. It's more just a bit of a push, a bit of something that you're keeping your eye on at this stage. Anything that you comes to mind?
Look, I think that I don't think it was hard to miss the run of Floating Artist on Saturday at Moonee Valley.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see him back up in the Hotham Stakes on Saturday and try and run himself into the Melbourne Cup. So I think I'm looking forward to him backing up on Saturday. I think the Coolmore is going to be a great race. I think Godolphin's got a really strong hand with the likes of Palili, who stayed out of last week's Manikato, but they've also got Kalos, who won the Danehill so well, ingratiating backing up off the Manikato. And then you've got the horse like Home Affairs, who comes off the Everest, but will find this a lot easier. The Derby, Forgot You's got the best form. He's had a lot of hard runs. I just wonder if he's got much left in the tank. I'm a little bit interested in at a price to Dukaka. He won at Geelong, and I think he's progressing really well. But they're probably the main ones through the week or through the first day. And then, of course, Cup Day, the Oaks. I think Danny O'Brien's got a good hand with El Patroness, but it runs on Saturday in the Wakeful, so we'll learn more there. But it promises to be a tremendous week. But if you were pinning me to one, I think Floating Artist runs in the Hotham Stakes on Saturday. I think he'll run himself into the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, hard to disagree with you after seeing that run on the weekend, Dino. Probably the best beaten in the race, would you say?
One of the best things beaten in many weeks in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It just got in an awkward spot, and sometimes you can get out of an awkward spot and make the best of a bad situation. It just got parlayed into a worse situation. And then for that horse to pick up and get as close as he did suggests to me that he's got a lot of petrol still in the tank.
Well, that's there, yeah. Hey, Deane, look, wealth of information there. I'm sure punters are going to get a lot out of this. Deane, we wish you all the best coming into one of the busiest weeks of the year. We know it's that busy, and we thank you for your time as a result. Deane, all the best for the week. And Cup Day, obviously you'll have all your sort of bookings for different stations and so forth. But when it comes Cup Day, you're at home this year, mate? Or I believe
I am at home this year. Yeah, we're with the COVID restrictions. I'm at home, but I'll be on radio on RSN through the day, and in the lead up to the Cup. I think it's my 22nd Cup on radio, so looking forward to the coverage. And shame we can't be there, but next year will be a different year, and we'll get back out there. But thanks for having me on, Damien. Let's do it again soon.
Good on you, Deane. Take care,
My
mate.
pleasure. Thanks, mate.
Of course, Mick, the other place where it's all happening is Rosehill. And of course, we've got the Golden Eagle, which I was actually at that last year. It was a great day. Caught up with Ray Thomas there. Cracker. Had a good day too. But anyhow, this year, obviously it runs again. And we wanted to talk to someone who is really doing well in Sydney. And look, very talented analyst. He appears everywhere actually, but racing.com is certainly where you'll see him as well. And that is Tom Haylock. But just before we go and chat to him, just want to highlight a couple of things, Mick, how talented this guy is. We're just showing it on the screen there. A few weeks ago there, he's tipped Fossil at $17. But what's more impressive is just the outline he made and the case he made for that horse. Very courageous. You don't see normally a lot of analysts going out on a limb tipping $17 pops. I know you do, Mick, but few and far between. And also, look, he's double-digit profit over the last 30 days. As I said, focuses on Sydney Metro. We wanted to ask him specifically about the Golden Eagle race over the 1500, what his thoughts are on the track, and get some early information. So he had some good things to say. Mick, let's go chat to him.
Let's go.
Here we go. We're coming up to the big Golden Eagle Day at Rosehill, and what a great time to get this guy in. He is having a huge month at the moment. Focuses mainly on Sydney town, and so why not talk to him? Tom Haylock from racing.com. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, mate. Yeah, exciting time of year, obviously. Things are heating up. The Golden Eagle, $7.5 million, if you don't mind. It's a phenomenal race. It's been a success so far. And obviously last year was on a very wet track, so a bit different this year.
Yeah, very different, in fact. And look, hey, that's a good cue to start the chat, Tom. I was going to sort of just point out some things about this Rosehill track that I'm sure you're aware of. Punters are probably going to become very aware of shortly. Haven't had a lot of racing. I currently rated a good 4. Not much rain predicted. I think the irrigation will probably top off whatever's going to be at least planning to come, if we can trust the weatherman. Just interested to start off with that sort of lack of history and recent history, that is. And I think Rail's true as well, looking like a hard track. What sort of assumptions are you going to make about how the track will play on the day, mate?
Yeah, first thought is naturally good tracks suits those up on speed. Rosehill is generally good for that, especially from the shoot starts. So the 1100 metre starts, I always look for inside barriers. The 1500 metre Golden Rose, Golden Eagle. Yeah, I'll be looking for those drawn up and in, inside fence. If the track is wet and then drying, it tends to favour those on the rail as well. So generally on Saturday, I'll be looking for horses that are going to be on speed. I think there's a couple of chances in the Golden Eagle this year that probably drawn back and wide. Private Eye might be one of those that just might struggle to get into the race. So it's a really interesting day. Obviously, come race 7 or 8 in the program, the Golden Eagle will get a fair idea. And as a punter, I generally look for patterns early and tend to leave my betting till late.
Yeah, okay, great. Look, obviously the 1500 metre course, look, on paper, certainly there's a nice sort of straight run till they hit the first turn. Just wondering if you could give punters a bit of an insight into how you see that particular course at Rosehill. You know, are you any characteristics you're looking for in the horse to take advantage of the sort of bias you spoke to? I mean, we're looking at certain barrier positions. You just spoke to Private Eye, sort of drawing in the car park. Maybe that's not ideal. Any penalties or favours that you're giving to certain combinations of barrier position, early gate speed, and characteristics in the run?
Yeah, I don't mind the wide barriers if they can cross and find the front. I think that's a bit of a myth in terms of wide barriers. I think it can suit good horses and some certain pattern horses, especially those with gate speed. If they can work across, Nature Strip's a perfect example. If I much prefer Nature Strip to be drawn a wide barrier because he can work into the race and exactly like he did in the Everest. But yeah, over the 1500 metres, as you said, there is a decent run of the first turn, which is good. Horses will find their position, and that decent run into a turn can often change the pace a little bit because horses have a bit of time to find their positions, and then they can drop anchor. And once they lob into their positions, they can obviously drop the tempo a little bit, and rather than working to find positions around a bend where that can put a large tempo in. Yeah, I'll be penalising those on the Golden Eagle on a firm Rosehill track that are drawn wide and get back. So I just think that the horses that someone like Ellsberg's drawn perfectly, there's enough speed in the race that can, they'll set a decent tempo this Golden Eagle, but Ellsberg just draws that perfect suck run in behind the speed. So I've got Vangelic, Acer, Apache Chase, who else is there? Love Tap even might take a sit. I think Love Tap and Ellsberg are the two map horses that will settle in behind the speed, and they're the ones that I will promote, the horses that have enough speed to be up on speed and get a soft run.
And some nice prices around some of those horses you mentioned there too, Tom. Hey, look, early days, obviously barrier draw yesterday on Tuesday. So very fresh. Don't expect you to have done all your homework or even probably started much of it at the moment. But look, you mentioned a couple of horses that obviously you're starting to think about it. Something for punters, Tom. What anything you're looking at this stage as a bit of a watch for the Golden Eagle?
Yeah, it is tough. I think the best and the safest bet is for me is Ellsberg. He obviously comes through the lead up the Silver Eagle. Aim beat him there. It was a bit of a messy race. I think this horse is flying. I love what they did with him this campaign. They took the gear off. They've got him to settle. And I used to think he was a control freak up on speed, but he's shown that ability to settle now. He draws to get the perfect run. And I think he's the horse that won't run badly. Aim will get back in the ruck, and I've demoted him a little bit because of that. He gets his firm track. I liked him first up, so that was a good result for me. But I think Ellsberg can turn the tables on him. He just maps perfectly. I really wanted to be with Private Eye, but I am, and we talked a lot about the track and the pattern, I am a bit concerned about where he gets to. So I think the horse is flying, and he's, if they are making ground, I'll promote him later in the day. But just as we come to you, record this earlier in the week, it is tough to establish that pattern, but I am looking for those on paces, and I think Ellsberg fits the bill. I think he's flying, and I think he'll definitely run top 3 or 4.
Look, I think you set a great picture in punters' minds there, Tom. And look, the last question to ask is, look, where can punters find your information for the big meet at Rosehill, the big Golden Eagle meet, mate?
Yeah, I'll do all the form for racing.com. So log on to racing.com and all my selections will be there. I try to give an educational story along the way why I like certain horses, and punting and tipping are completely different things. And there's times where I obviously change pending pattern. I can only predict the future in terms of track and pattern to what's happened in the past. And that's what I'll be doing for Rosehill this Saturday, looking for those horses up on speed. And I think the way the track will play, but like I said, if they're coming wide and for some reason, Private Eye might get promoted and stuff like that. So racing.com for me, you'll find all my stuff Saturday morning updated after scratchings.
Oh, that's fantastic, Tom. Hey, look, thanks for making the time, mate, to come in and talk to us today, mate. And look, all the very best, and for your continued success into the future, mate.
Thanks very much, Damien. Cheers.
Good on you. Okay, there we go. Our Victoria Derby Golden Eagle edition of Tipster. Mick, first cab off the rank here. Give us your mixed moral. I suspect it's going to be Rosehill.
We're heading to Flemington.
Heading to Flemington. There we go.
Heading to Flemington. Flemington, race 1, number 11, Fangirl. Currently $3.05 is available. I think we will get better. James McDonald, Chris Waller. Last win was very impressive. It's 1-2 on the trot. Won the Reginald Allen last start over 1,400 metres. And I don't think the Melbourne runners are that good. And I think Sydney form will shine once again. So that'll get us off to a good start. And just quietly, for those punters out there, you know I love betting. And I've got another one for you. We did tip it in the all-in show, but the Golden Eagle, Ellsberg, was around 17s, 18s. It's now into 13s, around the joint. There's my Golden Eagle tip, Ellsberg. J Par, straight at the front. See you later. Won't catch it. Great each way bet, but, maybe more of just a win bet because, we love winning.
I'll tell you what, Mick, that all lines up with what Tommy Haylock said too. So he's got some great things to say about his perceived, how he sees the track playing on the day.
Sorry, Tommy. Didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
Wait, I'm sure. You're going, well, I reckon that was your mixed moral, and then you saw your stats at Flemington and thought, gee, I better have a go here.
Yep. Nailed it.
There we go. Hey, look, another great show, Mick. Thanks for your time, mate. I mean, of course, thegreattipoff.com is the place to go for your horse racing tips. Look, also greyhound racing tips, harness racing tips, validated stats for every media expert you can think of since 2009. And look, if you can think of one we haven't got, let us know. Put it on the show you're watching here, wherever you're watching it, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or look, just send us a note through customer service. We'd love to hear. We do all that work for you. All the stats are there, so you know who to back. Thegreattipoff.com. Make sure it's on your phone for the Spring Carnival. Mick, of course, fans too, folks, we should tell you that Melbourne Cup, look out for our Melbourne Cup special, should be dropping Sunday night, Sunday evening. It'll certainly be there Monday morning. So make sure you check in because there's going to be tips, chats, all sorts of great stuff. And then you've got Mick and Deane Watling's all in market preview as well. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can't miss it. Hey Mick, look, we can rest after, mate. We can, once this Melbourne Cup's after, we can try and get a bit more sleep, I think, with all these this work going on. But I'm sure I'll see you on Sunday, Mick, to shoot our Melbourne Cup special.
One thing I promise you, mate, I will not stop betting.
You will not stop betting.
Yeah.
That's the way. Punters, let's go. We'll see you. We'll see you Monday morning on YouTube.
Let's do it. See you then,
Okay.
boys.
Bye.